Welcome to 11th Lab, the house of autodidactism. It's a wonderful day to learn something new. Today we're going to learn how to use failure as a tool. Then we'll look at a quote or a passage that comes from the book Mastery by Robert Greene. I'll break down what that quote or passage means to me. Then we'll talk about how you can possibly apply today's lesson to your life. Let's dive right in right now. How can we use failure as a tool? Obviously, if we're pursuing something, a lifelong goal, a lifelong dream, it's inevitable that we're going to face some measure of failure. But instead of letting it back us up, letting it stop us dead in our tracks, there are some things that we can do that we can turn failure on its head and we can use it in a positive aspect. Now let's see what Robert Greene has to say about failure. Again, the passage comes from this book, Mastery by Robert Greene, and it comes from 2 pages. The first page, on page 83, he says, "Mistakes and failures are precisely your means of education. They tell you about your own inadequacies." On page 84, he really dives into the 2 types of failures we should be aware of. He says, think of it this way. There are 2 kinds of failure. The first comes from never trying out your ideas because you are afraid or because you are waiting for the perfect time. This kind of failure you can never learn from, and such timidity will destroy you. The second kind comes from a bold and virtuosome spirit. If you fail in this way, the hit you take to your reputation is greatly outweighed by what you learn. Repeated failure will toughen your spirit and show you with absolute clarity how things must be done. In fact, it is a curse to have everything go right on your first attempt. You will fail to question the element of luck, making you think that you have the golden touch. When you do inevitably fail, it will confuse and demoralize you past the point of learning. In any case, to apprentice as an entrepreneur, you must act on your ideas as early as possible, exposing them to the public, a part of you even hoping that you fail. You have everything to gain. What does that passage mean to me? Well, I took 2 things from that passage. The first thing that I took from it is that failure is inevitable. It will happen regardless of what it is that you're pursuing, especially if you're passionate about it. Very seldom do you see individuals that strike gold their first attempt. So don't go into it with the mindset that if you don't get it right the first time, then it's just officially over. Continue to push through. The second thing that I took from it is that don't be afraid of failure, and that failure can actually be beneficial because it will allow you to move steps closer towards whatever your overall goal is. And one of the examples that I like to use, and you probably heard me talk about it before, is the actual, there's something called WD-40. I know that everyone may be familiar with it, but WD-40 is actually it's a substance that stands for the process that it went through to successfully create it. And so WD-40 stands for the 40th attempt. It took 40 tries for those individuals to get that substance right. And so that's something to think about. So how can you apply this to your life? The first thing is go into it with the mindset knowing that 9 times out of 10 failure will happen. The second thing that you can be aware of is that failure is not something that's an isolated incident. Failure is not something that happens to individuals that are not intelligent. And so go into it with the mindset that you're not afraid of failing. The thing that I would encourage you to not be a part of is not even try, like not even go into a situation or not even think of something and then think in your mind, I'm not going to even try because I'm afraid of what may happen. Go into it with the mindset that, hey, it's a good chance that I'm probably going to fail a few times. But if I'm consistent, if I'm persistent, then chances are I will eventually be able to obtain whatever it is that I've been working towards. So let's recap. The first thing is failure is going to happen, regardless of what that situation is that you're going to try to do. Very seldom do you see individuals that strike gold on the first attempt. The second thing is do not be afraid of it. It's going to happen. There's really nothing that you can do about it. Even if you do everything right, you still have a higher chance, a higher percentage of having some failure along the way go anyway. Well, that's all I have for you guys today. I appreciate you stopping by my channel. Make sure that you turn on your notifications so that you're always aware when I post a video. Like this video, share this video, and lastly, hit that subscribe button for me.